If you're curious, confused, or even annoyed with the whole concept around feminine energy, this video is for you. I'm going to discuss 3 things that happen when we don't walk in feminine energy as women and why it's so important. Stick around. Hi, and welcome to my channel. I am Porsche The Communicator, your certified mental health life coach for all things life and love. I want to give a special shout out to all the new subscribers here. I appreciate you. And if you are new, if there's anything that I say during this video that resonates with you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the content if you feel it can be beneficial, and join the conversation in the comments. So to quickly dive in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of feminine energy, but first, let's start with what it actually is. Feminine energy is a lot of things, and let me be clear. We as women, we can typically do all the things, but I think in today's society, especially living in America, we often don't get to do certain things because of how we're wired and programmed and conditioned to work, as Rihanna said, or as Shaka Khan said back in the 70s, I'm every woman, meaning I can do all the things that she can do and more. You know what I'm saying. So when we talk about feminine energy, it's the ability to be creative. What do women do on planet Earth? We give life, we produce things, but we also, in that creative mode, have the ability or need to express the ability of receiving. We receive things from the masculine energy in order to create. And that is where a lot of times we miss it. We aren't able to effectively receive because we're out doing so much. And in receiving, there's a required element of rest that we oftentimes don't fully express on a consistent basis. And with rest comes delegation. I talked a lot about this in a previous video. You can check for that up in the cards someplace here if you haven't seen it. But I want to talk about the dangers of not harnessing feminine energy, what it means for us as women when we do not walk in it consistently or enough, because there are some things that we need to be aware of that we put ourselves at risk for. So let's start with thing number 1. When you don't walk in your feminine energy, people will not see you as someone who has needs. And usually you'll know that this is the case for you because people won't ask if you need help. They'll assume you got it. They'll actually be trying to extract from you. People will find themselves always pulling on you, your energy, your resources, your time, your attention, your affection, your focus, your wisdom, your knowledge, all of the things. This is how you know if this is typically your story. People are always taking from you. That is a telltale sign that you are not walking in your feminine energy to the capacity that you need to be if you are dissatisfied with that dynamic. You're typically known as or seen as the strong one. You're the strongest one in your friend group. And let me be clear, this is not just romantic, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. I've said this before. People will see you in all areas of life as the one that they can depend on. So you're the listening ear. You're the shoulder that they come crying on. You're the person that they can depend on all the time to do the job. But when it comes time for you to depend on someone and to lean on someone, where is everybody at? Where did they go? Are they available? They will typically be the friends who you're constantly having to pour into. It'll be the partner you're having to do the same. It'll be family members you're having to do the same. And rarely do these people ever return the favor and volunteer their resources and their help to you. And if they do, it's very rare. It doesn't typically happen. And when you've been used to doing something a certain way for so long, people might actually think you don't want it. They may think you don't want the help. They may see you as a know-it-all. That's kind of on the negative aspect of things, but they may think, I'm not going to offer her this because, maybe the last time they did, there was resistance to receiving. People may think you'll be offended if they try to offer you help or advice, etc. And so it's important to also be self-aware to check in with yourself on those things. And I have had to do it myself. It's just important for us as women to be mindful how we show up, because we may actually be repelling the help and the rest that we say we want and need. So that was the first major thing that tends to happen when we don't walk in our feminine energy. But the second major thing is we get exhausted. We feel used up, and hear me really good when I say this next part. Eventually, if it hasn't happened already, you will be forced to sit down. It's a cosmic, universal law of nature. What goes up must come down. And if we are not in an equilibrium, I'm telling you, somehow the divine finds a way to balance out and even the scales. That is us and our energy. I've seen it happen by way of injury, illness, loss of work, loss of money, loss of relationships, you name it. And this is why I say it's a danger, because when we choose to operate a certain way, we also have the same power and choice to choose to operate a different way that's going to benefit us ultimately in the end. It's dangerous when we continue to do certain things that put us at risk. I experienced this exact same thing, and now I've got to reflect and stop and say, wait a minute, what do I need to focus on as it concerns me and my well-being and my needs? Because clearly I have been thinking about everything and everybody else, and I've not been giving myself the same courtesy. And we have to do it, because if we don't choose to do it, the universe, God, whoever you want to call it, will definitely come in and make sure that it gets done. So before you find yourself on a stretcher, before you find yourself in a situation where you are forced to rely and depend on somebody versus asking and delegating so that it doesn't get to that point, before you get to those dire straits where you don't have a choice but to allow other people to give to you, I am strongly suggesting, highly recommending, urging you to really consider taking the time to step back when and where you can to allow others to fill the space so that you can balance out your energetic scales and harness more of your feminine energy. Now, this third thing I think is quite poisonous if you really think about it, but it is simply the aspect of resenting everything you're doing and everyone you're having to do these things for. So there's no joy, there's a lack of excitement or pleasure in all of the things that you're doing. When you're operating heavily in your masculine, you haven't been able to rest. You haven't received a dime or anything, in reciprocation from other people that you're working for or gifting to or all the things. You may likely start feeling like, what the hell am I doing all of this for? And going along with things that you really don't want to do, and then being mad about it in the end because you're feeling like you're on the short end of the stick. So then that creates a ricochet of bitterness. For some, it creates a ricochet or a domino effect of passive aggressive behavior. And now we're not speaking to certain people, or now we got a chip on our shoulder, or now we're walking in an attitude of entitlement when it comes to the things that we feel we should receive. But the problem is we haven't even vocalized it a lot of times. People don't even know that we're feeling a certain way, that we need certain things, that we would like certain things. And sometimes I know we as women are thinking, but I shouldn't have to say it. I get it. But I also understand, as should we all, that people aren't mind readers and people do not operate the way that you do. You are unique. And this is a hard lesson that I've had to learn. Just because I would do certain things doesn't mean other people would. But just because they don't rush to volunteer to do something like I have traditionally been wired to, doesn't mean people won't do the things that I ask and not have a problem with it. That's the other thing. Sometimes we think, oh, well, if I got to tell you, if I got to ask, if it didn't just come to you, if you can't see that, then clearly you don't want to do it for me. And that's not necessarily true. And so it requires us to be comfortable with asking for what we need and then allowing other people to show their gratitude for how we've been there, or to show their willingness to be there for us. in the ways that we need it. And I know that that's easier said than done. But again, the risk and the danger that we run by doing, not being in our feminine energy, over functioning, is that we run the risk of creating an internal cancerous emotional and energetic mental state for ourselves when it comes to how we deal with the outside world. Now, as always, these are not all the dangers that we run as women not operating in our feminine energy. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Are there any other things that we risk? And have you experienced any of the things that I have mentioned in this video? Did you know that these were signs that you were maybe on the brink of a personal energetic collapse or operating more heavily in your masculine than you initially thought? Let me know in the comments. And if I've said anything in this video that has hit home for you, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so that you don't miss out on impactful coaching content, and also share this video with someone if you know that it can be beneficial to them. And also, if you are interested in learning how to kick up your feminine energy to get out of dissatisfying, toxic, negative relationship cycles and into the partnerships that you desire and deserve, book a free consultation with me. The link for that is in my description box so we can discuss my program, Rewire for Love, to determine how we can jumpstart your love transformation ASAP. All right, well, that's all I have for this video. I thank you for watching. I appreciate you for being here. And until the next one, peace and love, many blessings, and bye for now.